Happy Tuesday. Today I'm back over here. I'm just chilling, doing some late night Minecraft again. Um, Immediately it's raining. Um, but yeah, I got a couple things I want to do today. So first I'm gonna be filling the the pond I made last week with sand and getting some like kelp and stuff in there and maybe some fish. Um, and then I also want to go um on a little quest to get a bunch of apples for for one of my buddies' bakery. River. Apparently, I don't have a lot of those. Kind of rare, so I'll be going around and getting some of that. I just gotta I just gotta find my my water affinity. There it is. There's some chill stuff today. Hopefully you can't hear my clicks. This kind of embarrassing. But yeah, I make it a little prettier over there. Um, some new stuff I did, but in between. I built a new house over there. You can't really see it from, but little cottage up in the tree, up in a bunch of trees that I planted. That's a real cozy vibe. Right. Where I could go up the tree there and then the house. Jesus, instantly. That's crazy. I'm gonna be working in the water. A thing that I love. I gotta check on the help. I think I can kind of check from the window. They're all not growing equally, which is really annoying. I wish that they would. But such is life, I guess. Oh yeah, I don't think I had this last time. 'Cause I got done with the pool and then uh I didn't want to keep working on it in between recordings. Um, so I redid the whole path between our houses. But we'll get to that when I go searching for apples. I gotta get to this. I also fixed. I also found out what the issue was. Um, why there were monsters nearby when I was trying to sleep. Uh, because of this guy over here, or butter. He's a zombie horse, and that counts as a monster. And he would live outside my door, but now he has his own house, further away, so I can sleep. Yeah, that's good. I'm gonna have to place these like immediately, I think, because otherwise I won't remember where there was dirt or not. Really bad for the camera. I did not know you can make paths underwater. Crazy. That's the kind of thing that I would imagine wouldn't work. Uh, uh, Maybe I'll make the part with the waterfall. I'll make that look like uh, some like stone or something. And you can't put some buttons underwater because I think that would make some nice rocks. But alas. Hopefully you can't hear a difference, but sometimes I have maybe like a connection issue or something. But my headphones audio gets out a little bit. Hopefully that's not too jarring. I like kind of like this little area I done. I also added sugar cans because I realized that's like something I don't have, something I can't produce from my house. Because as I said, my friend has a bakery that's and I've been supplying them with some stuff occasionally. And I was like, man, I can't just be giving them eggs and wheat. So I stole some sugarcane from some people and put it here so now I can give them that too. Um, I love to uh, seek validation from my friends by giving them things in the video game. My goal is to be uh, the best supplier of things for the baker. That is how I play the game, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I simply uh, I do not care for speedrunning. All I know is grow produce and supply the local businesses. This this path um this path making stuff underwater is gonna get annoying. I keep missing my clicks. Like that. That's weird. That feels like the kind of thing that they wouldn't do in this game. But I guess I decided you should be able to do that. Sorry, I don't have much to say. Today I just felt like doing some mindless work a little bit. Um, yeah, this is probably uh, compared to the last one, probably the one you wanna fall asleep to, right? The water sounds and the classic sleep team going in the rain and stuff, and hopefully you can't hear my mouse through the recording. It was really weird considering like I didn't really change anything um between that video and the other stuff I've been posting, so I don't know why it started hearing my mouse. I think I got it to be better. Hopefully it's not as noticeable. Maybe a little bit when I'm not talking. But you know, that's just something. I love these shaders. They make me want to drink this water. Something that I really like about shaders. But yeah, I couldn't really sleep, today, so I decided to get on here. I got um I got a session 0 I'm running tomorrow with some friends. Now we're gonna be playing Cyberpunk. It's all of I think maybe all of their first times. Um that should be fun. Do some nomad nomad stuff. I think it's gonna be cool. Cyberpunk is a really fun game. The rule book for it is problematic. I don't know if that's the right word. Um, it's not. It's really badly laid out. They make some really questionable design decisions with it, and on like where to put information and like how to arrange it, which really sucks when you're trying to get it. Um, when you try to get it into the hands of some new players, because it's not really user friendly at all. So people people who like to read books before playing a game uh will sort of just bounce off of it and just decide that it's maybe not for them before actually getting their hands on it and actually like playing, which really sucks. um I like to have them uh either like play some pre-generated characters. I think that's not I don't think that's a necessity, but I think it can definitely help. But generally, I I I tend to for teaching new games. I tend to again, like I said, use pre-generated characters. I think that making new players, mostly if they've never played tabletop, um, making them giving them all that information at once, and we're like, all right, make a character. I think that can um it can make it really hard for them to actually get into it, right? Because you know, a lot of uh multiple systems, like probably the main one I'm thinking about is Dungeons and Dragons. They'll there's a lot of math involved making a character, a lot of decisions, and a lot of new new information and stuff. And that can be a lot to learn, like anyways. But I prefer I like showing my players. I'll show them their character options. So like a class or a role in Cyberpunk. And like ancestries and stuff like that. For other games. And not tell them any, or like not really like okay, so this is right, like this is a rogue that gets sneak attack and like cutting actions and all that kind of stuff. Because that's a lot of information to give someone new at first who doesn't know the game that they're playing. And mostly for, you know, new players who've never played games. Um you'll just lose them as soon as you start speaking about mechanics immediately. So I tell them about the fantasy of the role that they of all the different roles and classes and see what interests them at that point. And then from there uh I'll do the work of, you know, getting whole character sheet done, you know, the nitty-gritty stuff, and then I'll give it to them. Um I like if I'm running in person, which is, you know, rare nowadays. But I'll highlight stuff. I'll give them, you know, like cards, little cards, uh, or that kind of stuff. Just like flowcharts can be really helpful too. And then we'll just get into play, and I'll teach the different, all the different aspects of the game live, as they come up, instead of just front loading everything about a game. That's really intense. And even for me, like I've been playing games for a good while now. I've played a lot of games. Um, learning new rules on the fly, or like not on the fly. I mean, learning a bunch of new terminology and rules all at once is really exhausting. Um, and I won't like retain any of that. But if we start playing and then we get in an encounter, like okay, so we're gonna roll initiative. This is how it works, right? I think that's a lot more intuitive, a lot nicer, and smoother as a way to get into the that aspect of play. Apologies, I choked on a cough drop. Um, yeah, I think that way of teaching the game is a lot, different games is a lot more intuitive and just smoother, and it makes for a better experience in the end because you don't have to remember all the things at once. Um, I think mostly for a game like Cyberpunk, right? Because you have uh this big huge character sheet with like, oh, I think there's like 62, 63 skills, right? That's a lot to learn all at once. Um and like, you know, explaining like for character creation in that game mostly. I I'll offer pre-gens, uh and I'll push it more, I think, than with another game like Draw Steel. Um because uh creating a character and also going through the rule book is very unintuitive. Like at first, right? It's a lot of going back and forth in a textbook, right? And that's I think that can just sort of you'll be tired before you even get to play, and I don't think that's very fun. But with a pre-generated character, then we can get to playing everyone picks that, then we can get to playing a short encounter right at session 0, which I like to do. Just, no stakes, no story. For Cyberpunk, my go-to is a Waffle House with a bunch of gangers in there. Um, and just an easy encounter to get things rolling, and where we can be in a safe space with no stakes to learn combat, learn mechanics, see how it works, see how it flows, see how your character works, and then decide if you have anything that you'd like to change in in your character. And I think that's just that's a lot nicer way to get into it than just uh all right, so you got cyberware, and that adds to your things, and then you have humanity, that's a derived stat, and all your HP is it's the average of your body and your will, and then just explaining all that at once. And it's like, oh, initiative, that's just your reflex modifier, and oh, you can take aim shots, that's the -8 to your roll, and you can get bigger damage and stuff, and then like you have your armor that ablates whenever you get shot, like, and explaining that all at once, I feel, is way too much, and just way too fast for my liking. Um, and so that's why I like to get um just get that little starting combat encounter without any stakes, and then when we start playing, like, okay, so now we're gonna roll initiative. That's you're gonna roll a d10 plus your reflex modifier, and that determine when you go. And then when someone uh, gets shot, it's like, okay, so that the your armor number, then that the damage that you're gonna roll is gonna go through that, and then ablate the armor, and then just that kind of stuff, right, as it goes. Um, and I think that's been really helpful for me, both as a GM and as I've seen it, like, from my players. I think it's been a lot better than trying to get buy-in from my players just using mechanics. I think that's another thing, right, unrelated, but I think people are going to be a lot more engaged in your game if they don't have to try and remember a bunch of rules immediately. They're going to be, thinking first as, characters and what situation they're in and what's going on with them and stuff. And then when things arise, then, okay, so this is how the mechanic for this works. That's how I like to do it. I've most of my jamming experience has been with newer players, so I've sort of perfected that that way. And also about getting players into that's a lot of crafting tables. Um, about getting players into wanting to play a new game. I think that my main advice for that would be don't come up to them with like, dude, this game is like super cool, armor works like this, and then you have cover mechanics, and you can like throw a grenade, and then you can maybe dodge out of it and like get these bonuses and stuff. Like, don't um don't introduce the mechanics first, introduce the fantasy. So with Cyberpunk, right, it's like, oh, so like, like, you've seen, like, if you've seen like movies like Blade Runner and like Upgrade and those kinds of things, right? Like that sort of thing where you're you know, you're sort of like a mercenary and you get to have cool augmentations, uh, like cybernetics and stuff, like part robot, right? And then it's like go on these missions and like fight back against these big corporations, these evil corporations in this like cyberpunk sort of dystopian future, all right? And it's like you're these like really cool guys, like it's substance like over it's like style over substance, right, is what they call it. Like you get flashy jackets and like cool light up tattoos and all these things, and you get to fight back against the man, right? Like kind of a power fantasy. um it's like for a game like Draw Steel is like you get to be a really powerful hero, and um really cool hero. You get to like push people around, like push people through walls. Like that's one of the things I like to bring up for that game, right? Is all the force movement. Yeah, that is mechanics, but it's also a part of a fantasy, right? You're a strong, powerful hero, and you can be strong enough that you push someone through a wall and into another bad guy. Like get the uh be super. It's a very like tactical game, and or like position matters, and like you get to move all around, and it's all really cinematic and cool. Like think about like cool, almost like superhero movies, right? That kind of tone. You're like medieval fantasy, like heroic fantasy hero. That's the kind of pitch, right, that I give, and I think that's a lot better than, like, oh, you get like to roll 2d10 and then you have levels of success and stuff. Um, which I think can be a little bit overwhelming, at least for newer players. But I think also like for Draw Steel specifically, like I will tell people like the mechanics of the game are really good. Like it's really tight. And uh, also like a really fun and smooth gameplay experience, right? You never miss, so you don't get that like, oh, I wait for 40 minutes for my turn and I roll, and then nothing happens, and then it skips my turn because I can't do anything. Right? It's like you're very impactful everything you do. But yeah, that's sort of what I like to do, um, for new games, and yeah, so I get to uh, practice all this. Bro. I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna be fun. Hopefully my players like it. I've been thinking about the particular game for a while. I think it has potential to be a lot of fun. Hopefully they like it. I'll tell you how it goes later. But yeah, uh, I really like I really like tabletop games. Um, and I think there's so many different systems. Uh, there's so many different systems around that are like, really cool and really fun, and I really want to help um, get people into that. All of those games. 'Cause I think there's people doing like brilliant stuff out there with the RPGs, and I think there's a lot of recognition, right? Like Cyberpunk Red, they've been going for I think around like 6 years. I think it came out around like 2019. Um, and they've not stopped uh working on the game really. Like there's still not a new edition of the book I would really like. just a reprint. Fix the layout. Uh, we can't have everything, but the the devs uh they've been giving us a lot of free content over the years. Like every month, there's a free PDF with new gear, new weapons, new game mechanics, stuff like that. Um, they made a whole sport that you can play on the game with all your characters. Um, which I'd really like to try. And sometimes it looks really fun. Um, yeah, no, it's really good. I think probably my favorite one is the weather DLC. It's really simple, but it's really fun. You get these you get all these rolling tables for it, and you can get your players to roll at the start of sessions. Um, and they roll to see based on the month and stuff. You get to see like if there's any like crazy weather events going on. You get like temperature and stuff. You can have like acid rain, like blood rain. Why did I go in here? Don't remember. Doesn't matter. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and people are doing really creative, fun things. Um, and yeah, I wish there was more time to get to play games. Uh, People have lives and such, unfortunately. Um, and a lot of people also just are uh familiar with D&D only, and that's all they'll want to play, right? And that I think that's kind of strange to me. Uh, that sort of that idea of we have one game and we're only gonna play this forever. Like I think no wonder a lot of GMs get tired if they're the only person in their game in their group who wants to run. Um, and then they're always running the same game for years. I'd get burnt out too, right? Um, yeah, that's why I like poly games, and I think that this was a problem that came around specifically in with the group that I'm running Cyberpunk for tomorrow or tonight. Um, was that the RGM got burned out. We were playing 5e for the longest time, then we switched to draw steel, and some of the players didn't like that as much, and the GM just got kind of burnt out for from running just for 2 years, almost weekly. And so yeah, so now we're sort of talked about it, and like yeah, we'll just you know like everyone's gonna try running different games and stuff, and see what we like, different one shots and short adventures. Like not not everything needs to be a big, long, sprawling campaign. And I think there's room for that for sure. But I also think that sometimes it's good to do shorter stuff. That's why that's at least that's what I have experience running, and I think running huge campaigns for so long it's really hard. It's like really hard. Not everyone can do it, but a one shot or a 3-part adventure, I think that's a lot more doable for most people who just want to kind of try their hand at running. But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of and there's a lot of good systems for new GMs. A lot of one page type RPGs with just really simple stuff like Kids on Bikes or like Candela Obscura, those kinds of games. I think are really simple to get into and to run, and they're also like really a good fit for a shorter style adventure. I think I think we need more of it. I think a lot of people sort of maybe look down a little bit on that kind of uh, style of running games because it's all about people always talk about the big stuff like the big adventures and uh, the long like years long campaigns, and I think see that reflected in a lot of official material for like D&D. In particular is one I can think of, right? Like your Curse of Strahd and those kinds of super long adventures. Yeah, I think it's important to go back to the roots of the hobby, right? A short like that's kind of that's what a campaign is, right? Originally, the connection of a collection of separate adventures of like differing lengths, but they all have the um, same through line, which is the player characters, and that's why they call it a campaign, right? The series of missions, uh, and that's something that I really like. That's why I like that's why I like Cyberpunk because I think it's possible, but it's also harder to do one huge campaign uh, with a big main story. I think I think that um, I personally believe that that game fits uh, way better with shorter missions and gigs all strung together with the through line of these characters that we're following and their daily lives trying to make it in the city and stuff. That's why um that's why mechanics like rent are really good for Cyberpunk because it's sort of that motivator that, that sort of motivates everyone's characters to do what they do, right? To keep adventuring, keep running gigs as that like risk versus reward thing. It's we could play it safe and not do uh this really high paying gig, right? But then maybe uh we won't have the money to pay the rent, and then we then we'll have to all like pile into whoever's like like John Rocker Boy's tiny studio apartment, and we'll all be exhausted, and so we will be worse uh at the jobs that we're trying to do to make money, and that sort of cycle. Um, and some certain more like all the more chromed up uh characters would not have maybe not be able to afford therapy and that kind of stuff, which like it sounds really bleak and like kind of depressing, right? It's like a poverty simulator, but um I think it makes for really good stories. um and just it's good to have that sort of it gives player characters something in common, right? Even though they might be all come from very different places and have different occupations. Yeah, like most of them will have that common struggle, right? That we have to do edge running because it's the best paying job there is, right? It's like one of the better ones there are, and is better than not being paid a living wage. But in exchange for that, yeah, in exchange for the big bucks, we get shot at for a living, right? And might have to grapple with certain decisions and like the consequences of their actions. I think that that's very important. That's a really important thing, and sort of something that you need to do more work on in other systems, um, like a fantasy adventure type of way, right? It's why are our characters sticking together? Why do they keep adventuring, right? And that has a little more work onto it. But if you can't, like in Cyberpunk, if you can't come up with a good excuse of why your character would uh, would keep going, then you always have that to fall back on, right? I need to pay my bills. I need to eat. That kind of stuff, you know. Then just I have to stick together with these people because we know how to work together, and they like you or another character might have like had something happen on one of these gigs, right? Where they just they happen to save your life, like take a bullet for you, that kind of stuff. And so it's like now you have you have that incentive to work together because you've built that trust, which is really hard to, like trust is really hard to come around in a place like Night City. So you have that going together. Um, on top of instead of just like, oh, we're gonna come up with a random reason that maybe may or may not feel forced as to why we're sticking together because the game needs to happen, that kind of stuff. I think that's something that Cyberpunk is really good at doing. Also really good at making very deeply human stories, which I really like about it. Um, just uh, I think if you're playing Cyberpunk, you can kind of just play it like shooty, like big man shoots big gun at the bad guy kind of stuff, and that's fun. And I do enjoy that. Um, but I think it's also really good to think about how the things that your character does on their jobs and stuff would affect them, right? Like if always uh you're always playing out combats to the very end. It always ends with all the enemies are dead. That that I think it's good and it can be interesting that kind of game to just think how that might affect your character, right? And obviously not every character will be deeply affected because they killed people. Like a solo that's a war vet and stuff, they might do like a lot of compartmentalizing kind of stuff. Um, that's something also to that you can play into. Like one of the player characters in my home game is uh he's a hitman kind of guy, right? That's like his whole deal. Um, and he's uh like it doesn't matter to him if he has to kill people. Like that's just kind of what he does. But it also uh that stuff with a mix of all the cyberware that he has. Um, I think he has something like a four or like a 3 or 4 in his empathy skill, like in his stat. He's just uh, from all the stuff he's done and all that, he's just become disconnected from humanity, like disconnected from other people, and he sort of uh have this. He sort of puts up this kind of uh this cool guy, uh really charismatic persona. Um, but like a he's kind of a like psychopath, right? Like doesn't really matter to him. Uh, he might not see how like he doesn't understand why one of the other characters in the party won't use lethal weapons, right? So that character is is younger. They're like a medical school student, right? They're a doctor, so it's just sort of that makes for like really interesting character dynamics that I think might not come up necessarily as naturally in a different system. Um, but the system of cyberpunk sort of influences those um, those kinds of stories and those kinds of aspects of characters because like your stats like you can look at a character sheet and you can know just by their stats and stuff and their skills you can kind of know a little bit about what kind of person they are. You can know more about them, which I think isn't really the case for like a D&D character, for example, right? You couldn't tell if you put a character sheet from like Curse of Strahd versus another like Lost Mine of Phandelver. If you put two of those two character sheets next to each other, you won't be able to tell the difference. But with Cyberpunk, the all the hits that your character gets um that sort of reflects on their story, right? You can get like humanity loss. It's not just for cyberware. Like if your character goes through uh, a traumatic event, they'll take humanity loss. Um, and it's just sort of reflecting on their mental health, and that makes their empathy stat go down. So like it might reflect as them being more cold or you know uh, disconnected from the rest of the people around them. And I just think that's really interesting. That's a really sort of unique part of this game that you get to explore as you play. And not everyone will use these sort of mechanics, uh, but I like to do it, and I think it makes for really interesting stories. Like yeah, like I've had um, characters that I've played that have gone through uh, really intense stuff, and then it sort of affected the way that I played them for a while until they could get therapy and get it, get it fixed, get better. And I think that's just a really fun, a really interesting way to tell stories in the tabletop that you might not get as naturally in other systems. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Um, what games? Cyberpunk is really fun. You should try it. Uh, but don't let the rulebook scare you. Uh, I just found out earlier about a free PDF they have on their website called Easy Mode, where it's all the core rules without um all the nightmarish formatting. It's even got some pre-generated characters in there. That's a really good resource for new players. I'll uh, I'll put a link to it. Uh, doobly doo. I originally thought I was gonna go outside and explore for the apples, but I realized I got trees that have them here, so I've just been stripping all the leaves off. I'll I'll replant them when I come back. But let's I'll do this one and I'll go. I'll show you around town a little bit. Um, so what I've been working on in between the videos. I just gotta get water first. Can't be too careful. Guess I have to jump off a cliff or something. a server I got with a bunch of friends from Discord. And it's a really chill place. I think it's a lot of people on here's first time playing Minecraft, which I think is neat. Always fun to show games you like to new people. Like I think I was talking about last time. Um, Same with double top RPGs. I really like showing games to people. That's been most of my experience with GMing. Like my first ever time jamming was Cyberpunk Red, a game that I had not played when I ran it for the first time. So nobody had played it, and we just kind of went into it and played the game so wrong. Um, but yeah, this is the path I've been working on. Um, it used to be a full block. I changed it to be a bottom slab so mobs won't spawn, and then I made so many lanterns to light it up. Um, One of the people on here, the admin of the server, has a big iron farm. So iron's not really, uh, it's not really a thing that you need to worry about anymore. That's kind of the edge of the path that I built. I just put the lanterns down. I'm gonna go to give give the things uh the bakery. I forgot the other apples at home. That's fine. But yeah, the shame that it's so foggy because we can't really see it. Um, but yeah, there's a tavern over here. We got a villager trading hall. Someone lives with a boat on a boat, and there's a bunch of copper golems around. So we're sitting, uh, which I think is really funny. So you also got a big railroad. Got a Herobrine shrine. Um, a tavern with the admin's house. Over here, where the bakery's at. They got aghast. I think it's crazy that you can just have those around now in the overworld. Look all the honey that I put there, but jokes on them. I got more, and then I got apple. Struggling with this one. I also like seeds, so that's it. This is in the bakery, and then I got a bunch of stuff in here. I very good. I think the right one. There we go. I got a bunch of food and teas. It's a really lovely little place. Got them on the sponsor wall. I gave a lot more than just this, but I think they did just ran out of space, which is fair. I'm just that much better at giving people stuff. Yeah, they also got some some creepers and boats over here, uh, which I think is really funny. That's the area around here. I'll just speed. I'll just speed this up. Uh, and I'll be back home. I'm gonna show you the treehouse. Like when it gets rainy like this. In this area, so very nice. But yeah, this is my favorite part of the path that I made. Uh, I got a little bridge area with these lanterns. This like rickety old like ruins, like little mounds. I really like this. I made these inspired a lot by like Shadow of the Colossus, one of my favorite games. Um, I love me some good ruins from a mysterious older civilization like this. This was like a natural like a little a little like land bridge. And I was like, okay, I gotta make this better. Uh, because I recently found out that um, one of the friends on here uh the setup like right next to my house this whole time. I just didn't know. Um, I extended the path over to their place. Um, yeah, I'm really happy with this. I think it's very cute. I love making stuff like this. And also towers. I got yeah, I was telling one of my friends. I got all my classic uh all my typical different house types that I build in Minecraft represented in this little city. So uh, I got really tall cobblestone towers. Um, and hole I got house in a hole in the ground over here. Um, like I didn't really change any of this. Like it was just kind of the I I don't think I mined out anything. I didn't mine out really anything. Like you can see like this overhang and stuff that was all there already. Um, I just kind of built walls on that shit and put a floor and I was like, yep, that's my house. Which is my favorite thing to do. I've always done this. What the? Oh, yeah. I was like, what the hell? Who did that? Who put mine web there? And then I realized it's me. I did that. Oh, it's how you go up the tower. Or to go down the tower. We're here with my elevator. Whee! You can see the view. For a minute. And over here. Then go back down over here. This part was really annoying to make. Um that it's really ugly, but this is the way it'll stay because I don't want to fuck with it. So yeah, I'll just go up there. Um, we'll end it because I think, as you can tell, I'm losing my voice again. Um, I might not be really sick anymore, but goddamn, does the sickness stay forever and never ends as soon as I want to do something. Yeah, got better look over here. Got the cottage house, little cottage in the woods. Um, I got it. I put these doors here because I realized while I was building it that zombies and like creepers and skeletons and stuff would just climb up the stairs, and I'll just be working up there and have a zombie show up. Like, hey, you can't you can't be up here. Um, yeah, this is the first floor. It's all very empty. I haven't really furnished it yet. Um, with the top of one of the foundation trees going up, and we'll go up the stairs here. Have this little lodge area. With the top of the tree that goes through the roof. I think I'm probably gonna build like a little like fireplace here and stuff like get like a couch or something. All I got up here is a rug. But yeah, I hope y'all have a nice day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.